in Kenya and Tanzania, widely spoken, but also in other 8 East African countries. However, Uganda is still lagging behind in using Swahili language. So this language was officially elected and officially using as a regional language for the 8 East African member states. What is happening now, or what has happened, is the East African Community Minister in Uganda, that's right, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, has earmarked a 3.2 billion shillings to teach Swahili language among Ugandans. Now, what is happening is that on every Monday, the cabinet ministers learn Swahili from 9 to 10. Not only that, and they're encouraging Swahili classes. Every week, the judicial is also learning Swahili, and the NRM also going to train its people on days like Wednesdays and Saturday. In other words, this is becoming something very important. Government has allocated 3.2 billion shillings to teach Ugandans the Kiswahili language. There are so many questions to it after the Minister for East African Affairs, Rebecca Kadaga, broke this news to the people. And recently, a section of members of parliament posted something. On the 29th of February 2024, government has proposed the establishment of what we call a Kiswahili Council as a government agency that will promote the usage of Kiswahili language. The proposal is contained in the Uganda National Kiswahili Council Bill 2023 that was tabled for the first reading at the State Minister for Gender Disability by Honorable Helen Asomo on Wednesday. But what entails this bill and what is the reason behind? Will this initiative yield result or it will not? But again, the question comes, what has been lagging so many Ugandans in engaging in learning of the Kiswahili? Because they say that Kiswahili died in the Pearl of Africa. When you hear what the people are saying, mina kuja kulia, kachai, and there's so many things. Yesterday I was talking to a person, say, in Kiswahili, I was asking them the niaje, or, and it was like, kasana, kunjo cha mimi ingamba banaye ogera kinenya badantegeza mbwa kasana ko kamusukurumye ko ategeza kanji. But today, praise God that I'm joined by one of John Paul Arigomaho. I hope I get this right. He's the publicity secretary of Chakitau, Uganda, and we're going to be diving into the relevancy of Kiswahili study. Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chintu. I'm happy to be here at Bethany TV. My name is John Paul Rigmaho.
Yes.
I am a teacher of Kiswahili and I'm the publicity secretary, Chakitau, Uganda. Chakitau, Uganda is Chama cha Kiswahili Taifa, Uganda, which is a national association of Kiswahili that joins all Kiswahili stakeholders and teachers in Uganda.
Okay. How about if you repeat that in Kiswahili, in that camera?
I repeat, Chakitau. Chakitau is Chama cha Kiswahili Taifa, Uganda.
Yes, in Swahili, as you communicate in Swahili. Is it possible?
It is possible. Hakuna shida.
Please go.
Kwa hivyo, mimi ninaitwa John Paul Rigmaho, ambaye ni mwalimu wa Kiswahili shule ya upili Uganda Matazi na Mgongo, pia mdau wa Kiswahili. Mimi ninafanya kama afisa mawasiliano wa Chama cha Kiswahili Taifa Uganda, ambacho kinaunganisha walimu na wadau wa Kiswahili nchini Uganda kote, ambacho kinalenga kukuza na kuendeleza miradi ya Kiswahili nchini Uganda. Asanteni.
Wow, amazing. John Paul, why is government determined to promote and teach Kiswahili in Uganda above all other languages?
Already
we have our official, which is English. Why Kiswahili and why this time?
In the first place, Kiswahili is a good language. I want to mention it very clearly. Kiswahili is a good language. The reasons as to why the government has come up with a the program and taking Kiswahili as a priority are the following. There are many, but I want to mention 3 of them. 1, as East Africa and even Africa at large, the language that is spoken by the biggest number of people in the whole of Africa is Kiswahili. And we call that one a lingua franca. A lingua franca, the native language that is not borrowed, that is not foreign language, that is spoken by the biggest number of people in the whole of Africa. Kiswahili is spoken by more than 200 million people in Africa. You cannot compare Kiswahili with any other language. So us as Uganda, we have seen it as a priority as well. And the government is even putting in efforts to make it the language of the community. As it is even scheduled in the East African Treaty, as the treaty says, that Kiswahili should be used as a language of communication in all East African member states. So as Uganda, we are a partner state in the East African community. So we are owed to behave and to respect the rules and procedures of the East African community. Point number 2, in Uganda, we have very many languages, which are from different tribes. People speak different languages in Uganda. There are over 56 languages that are spoken in Uganda. How do we find it reasonable? And remember, those languages that are now based on, for example, let's say Lunyankore from Ankole, Lusoga from Busoga, the Lugisu from Bogesu, and other languages. So it becomes so hard when you have to choose a national language. You leave a language that is spoken by many people in the whole of the continent, that is Africa, and then you want to choose a language that is spoken by a few groups of people. But of course, the reason that's why you are making Swahili, they are putting Swahili as a priority, is that it has no any tribalistic affiliation, whereby Kiswahili itself has no owner. It is a language of East Africa, whereby even when we make it compulsory in Uganda, there is no tribe who will that will own Kiswahili. We shall say Kiswahili is a language of East Africa, not a language of Manyankole, not a language of Muganda, not a language of Mugisu. In that matter, therefore, we have to make it very clear that Kiswahili is a language that would remove all these tribalistic affiliations that Ugandans, some of the Ugandans have. Because I want you to imagine, Mr. Chintu, we met somewhere there in Uganda, in Kampala, in other areas, and we find ourselves speaking one language.
We have that one language, that is English.
But now English is officially for the people who are educated. We have people in villages who don't know how to speak English. So we have also to make sure that we put in a language. Remember, English is referred to as a language of elites.
Why do some people think that government maybe is trying to create job opportunities for over 1,500 teachers who are well now oriented and educated in Swahili language? They don't think it as that maybe it has come to help or something like that. They think that government just creating for you jobs. Do you think that?
I don't think...
Because as we speak now, Uganda has the biggest number of Swahili teachers than even Tanzania, where it originally, if I may say so.
Now, I don't think that the Ugandan government is basically only interested in employing teachers. Okay. I don't think that. What I think is that the government is noticing the importance of Kiswahili in the community.
Okay.
Because when you look at Kiswahili, the neighboring countries, gentle people, we have to agree somewhere, somehow, that we work with neighbors to develop.
Okay.
We as Uganda, there is no way how we could become a different state, an island, in an environment where there are other people. So in that matter, therefore, I think the government is putting a priority in Kiswahili because it has observed and identified the importance of Kiswahili in the community, to the people. Because, sincerely speaking, Kiswahili is a business language in the whole of East Africa. It's a business language. So there is no how we can quit and go away from Kiswahili. So therefore, I don't think that the government is just intending to employ teachers, though it would be also another program, because they also have to get jobs and spread the gospel of Kiswahili. But what I know is that the government has noticed and identified the importance of Kiswahili in the community.
Wow. So, but why now? Why did they implement that something like 10 years ago, 5 years ago? Maybe.
I don't think I gave a brief history of how Kiswahili came to be or came to Uganda. Just something very brief.
Yeah, if you don't mind, in something like 2 or 3 minutes.
Now, Kiswahili was actually in Uganda. It was taught well back in 1844.
In Uganda?
In Uganda.
Okay.
By a man called Ahmed bin something there. 1844. Just imagine. 1844. The language of Swahili by then was a language that was spoken by even other countries, other East African countries. So the colonialists that were colonizing Uganda and Tanzania, so they found it a language to use to humble, maybe to unite the colonies, to handle them very well.
When you say that, I really get, because by then the Kabaka's, Buganda's king, Mutesa I, was speaking Swahili very well and fluently.
So in that line, I just want Ugandans to imagine, since 1844, Kiswahili being taught in Uganda. There is a lot of, actually we have many people in Uganda who have learned Kiswahili. People maybe they are ignorant about this. What I know is that we have the biggest population in Uganda that speak Kiswahili. In this line, I therefore say that people should understand. Me last time, I don't know whether it is last week, I went to Chikubo down there. I was just making my sample research. I wanted to buy a TV. I went speaking Kiswahili. I imagined I don't know Luganda, I don't know English, I don't know any other language. I was speaking Kiswahili only. Do you know I entered 5 shops, 5 consecutive shops, when people who were there were speaking Kiswahili?
Why do you think people don't want? Where do we lose it from? Why are they not interested in speaking Swahili? It's not about language, to be honest.
Mr. Chief, the brief history of Kiswahili is somehow making these people think it's bad. Because in the first place, Kiswahili initially, which is not happening now, it was used as a language of command in the military. It was used to beat people. By then, the leadership and
the rebels.
The rebels used Kiswahili. Exactly. Someone wanted those who were grabbing people's land were using Kiswahili. That those was then.
Looters who used to come.
They would come. Wetoa viatu, so fungua mlango, leta pesa. So people know that language of command that was used to torture people, which is not the issue. In this generation we are in, we have to be dynamic and agree that change is there. Change is the fact of life, gentle people. What I'm telling Ugandans is, because you asked me a question that why are they not loving it? Why are they not buying it quickly? The point is, people are still having the trauma, the pinch on their hearts that Kiswahili was used to torture them. So in that line, people had to hate it. But now we, as we see the developments that are going on, people are noticing, people are identifying the importance of it. They are realizing that the language used now, the Kiswahili language, is not the language they used to hear by then, that was used to torture them, to punish people, to grab people's land and everything. The military used to grab people's land and everything by then. But now we are in a peaceful Uganda, peaceful East Africa. We are heading for the East African integration. We cannot integrate when we are divided socially. Let's have a language that unites us socially, economically, financially, in every sector. That is Kiswahili. Takes the lead.
But John Paul, as we speak now, we are seeing countries like Rwanda, Tanzania, they are getting English on board. So some people are thinking that isn't English quite enough? Isn't our mother tongues, our dialects enough? Because we've seen countries, when you go to like Germany in Europe, I mean, they speak German.
Now,
the Deutsche Welle is one of the languages speak, and they're not even bothered at learning English or anything, something like that. When you go to Japan, when you go South Korea, those countries, Finland, Scotland, not Scotland, Poland, all those countries, if they're so passionate about their languages, don't you think that we could make English and maybe the other second common, most widely spoken local dialect here?
I think I made it more clear in the first statement. I said Uganda, in comparison with Tanzania, Kenya, maybe other countries, Europe and what, we are a different state. I think me, I'm always objective and my points are always my points.
Yes.
And I must base on that. So Uganda is a different nation. And even East Africa is a different continent. The reason as to why I would not suggest or even second or recommend to only use English as maybe the national language in Uganda is English is termed as language of elites. Our people in villages do not know how to speak English. People who speak English must have gone to school. There are very few families where you find people speaking English right from their family there. So the reason as to why I don't support that English or any other native language should be put on the front line so that we should not focus on Swahili is, one, we should treasure our culture as Africans. So making English a language that would unite all Africans, I call that one neo-colonialism. Because in one or another, we are respecting other people's languages, now leaving the language that would be termed as language of Africa. That is why I am not in support of either making English on the front line to every Ugandan, to every East African, to be the language on the front line. Number two, when you talk of Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, and other countries that are coming up with English, because in Tanzania, all along for quite some time and decades of years and whatever, they have been doing their teachings, everything in Kiswahili. So, in this line, it is also good to diversify. Recently, last year, 2023, we had the International Kiswahili Day. The International Kiswahili Day of last year, 2023, was the whole of East African member states were here in Uganda, were at Hotel Africana. And our theme was Kiswahili in diverse with other languages. What do I mean? Kiswahili together with other languages as a multilingual. We can study Kiswahili when we are studying English, when we are understanding Luganda, when we are understanding Lusoga. So Kiswahili cannot take you from those lines because Kiswahili is a language of business. So in that line, there was, because people presented papers, how I wish people could understand those papers and even published. But I think at the end of it all, we're going to bring the feedback, even in a language people understand, because presentation of papers was in Kiswahili. But basically for us, what I think we should do as Tektau is now bring these papers to English so that people should understand how Kiswahili can work together with other native languages and we develop our country.
Because what would you tell a person who says, when you go to Tanzania, Tanzania has over 128 languages spoken. Kenya has 68. You come to Uganda, it's estimated at 70. When you come to Congo, over 200 languages spoken out there. Can't we do with our own dialects as opposed to incorporating in or bringing in this Swahili thing?
Basing on that point, you gave me an example of Tanzania. Tanzania has Kiswahili as a national language. And Kiswahili in Tanzania is spoken by everyone. Every person in Tanzania speaks Kiswahili. But do you know that they have their native languages, their dialects? As we do in Uganda, for example, we have more than 57 native languages. Do you know we can still have a national language that is matching with Africa, because we are looking now at African continent, because people should focus, should see very far. When I'm looking at the continent, when the Africa and East Africa at large, we should look at a language that would bring the whole of Africa together. let's not look at only Uganda, because my intention would not be on only Uganda. My intention would be on developing Africa and East Africa. So my points are very clear. We should look at a language that unites Africa, that unites East Africa, not Uganda only, because we are in the integration, want to make Africa free for everyone, want to make East Africa free for everyone. So in that line, I want to make it clear that basing on our theme even last year, Kiswahili can as well work when we are still dealing with our languages.
Okay, some people think that after Swahili, you're going to bring in Chinese. After Chinese, you're going to bring another language. So for how long are we going to keep learning other people's languages, yet we also have ours? How would you answer that?
Now, if someone thinks that even after Kiswahili, because we should make it very clear, Kiswahili is not owned by any other person in Africa. Kiswahili is, but I don't know whether I gave a brief history of how Kiswahili developed in East Africa. Whereby, I don't know, simply the intermarriages between Arabs and Africans.
Because it has a combination of Portuguese, Arabic.
So now, when you see how, when those people came, they found us speaking our own languages.
I was telling someone that this, in Uganda, we call this a meza. But it's the same word.
In Kiswahili, it is meza.
There's also what we call this, my button, pesa. There's the same word in pesa.
So unaona sasa. So me, I don't know how I can communicate to Ugandans, but what I know, what we have tried to do, we have tried to sensitize Ugandans. Mr. Chintu, the problem with Ugandans that has been prevailing is getting out the perception that Kiswahili will take away our native languages. The Ugandans are understanding that very well. And the major point, because gentle people, we must agree, we must understand, we must know that we survive by economics, we survive by business. Because survival is that. When we have money, we have good treatment. When we have money, we have everything. So in that line, business-wise, Kiswahili is a language of business. Let's concentrate on Swahili. Let's look at Swahili as a language that unites Africa, not only Uganda. Let's look at Kiswahili as a language that eliminates the tribalistic affiliations that would be in the country.
John Paul, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want you to kick it from how can we make people deeply fall in love with this amazing language when we come back after the break.
Focus. Focus on Healthy Morning. Bethany TV for Health.
UNICAF is offering $1 million worth of scholarships for you to study online at one of the leading providers of online quality higher education in Africa. Earn a British bachelor's or master's degree from one of UNICAF's partner universities, the University of East London, voted one of the best modern universities in the UK, Liverpool John Moores University, the fourth best university in the UK, according to the UniCompare Top 100 Universities rankings. The University of Suffolk, proudly boasting a 90% graduate employability rate. Apply now. Join over 60,000 students from 170 countries around the world looking to improve their lives and careers. For more information, please contact us on our WhatsApp at 771 976 750.
Attention everyone, the Ministry of Health has planned to vaccinate all persons aged 1 year to 60 years old to protect them against yellow fever disease. The mass vaccination will take place in 53 districts in these regions: Kampala, Buganda, Teso, Ankole and Karamoja. Vaccination is free and available at all government health facilities and outreach posts in these regions. The vaccination campaign will take place from April 2nd to April 8th, 2024. The vaccine is safe, effective and free of charge and has been approved by World Health Organization and Ministry of Health. This message is from Ministry of Health with support from Gavi.
Showing on Bethany TV. Nutrition Sport. Transforming the way you eat and live. Join us as we explore the power of food and how it transmutes your life, guiding you towards a path of balanced nutrition and the state of being strong, active, and energetic. Witness incredible transformation as we showcase real people who have embraced nutrition sports principles and have achieved their health goals.
Get ready to embark on this incredible journey with us as we unlock the secrets to optimal health, energy, and long life. Remember, it's time to nourish your body from within and live to the fullest.
Nutrition Sport, Thursdays, 8 to 9 p.m. and repeat every Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. only on Bethany TV for health. Are you looking for a platform to advertise your business and boost your sales? Bethany TV got you covered. Take advantage of our introductory rates and maximize your leverage for brand awareness, advertising, product launching, live coverages, activations, and so much more. For booking and more information, contact our sales team on 0785 576 269. Bethany TV for health. Bethany TV for health. Focus. Focus on healthy morning.
Yes, good morning once again. Thanks for joining us. My name is Chintu Mutesa Sida Senior, and we're diving into a very pertinent issue, and we're talking about the relevance of learning Kiswahili language after the 8 member states of the East African Community officialized it as a regional language and the medium of communication and business. Amazing stuff there. It's against this background that actually the East African Minister, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, government of Uganda, have allocated 3.2 billion shillings to enhance this initiative, to keep it increasing and to go down. As we speak now, by 2024, the year we're in, Kiswahili is going to be examinable. Uganda has over 1,500 Kiswahili teachers, more than Tanzania, where actually Kiswahili originated from, and where the country where it died from. But it's going to be resurrected. There's some people have been stereotyping that the language died in Uganda. No, who say it died in Uganda? So yes, John Paul, how can we make people love Kiswahili? John Paul here is my guest tonight, and he's the publicity secretary of Chakitau, Uganda, an initiative which is composed of many foot soldiers making the Swahili following up and making it prevalent in the country. How can we make Ugandans love Kiswahili more than any other language, or even close to their mother tongues or dialects and English?
Now, thank you, Mr. Now, what we are trying to do as Chakitau, together with the Ministry of East African Affairs, and maybe together with the Ministry of Gender, because it has the aspect of Kiswahili that is culture, and that is culture. What we would actually, for us, what we are doing now, what we are planning and what we are trying to drive is trying to sensitize Ugandans, to sensitize them, because everyone needs sensitization.
You are trying to promote unlearning the stereotype they had, that is a very language. But to be honest, my first time to encounter Swahili, I felt it so much impolite. And when I was in the great nation of Kenya, I was asking them, are there polite phrases in Kiswahili? Like please, may I? And say the words like tafadhali. And I'm like, okay. So you can use Swahili politely as opposed to fungua, kaa chini,
Toa viatu.
Yeah. So how can we make the people love this communication?
So, as I was telling you, we are trying to unlearn, to make the people understand that the language is not only the language of command as it was used previously, but we are now trying to sensitize them, to tell them how language can be used. As you've said now, people understand that language of Kiswahili is a language of command. But we have polite Kiswahili. Tafadhali, njoo, not kuja hapa, njoo, please, tafadhali, naomba, I request. So there is that polite, but people, what they know in their mind is, toa viatu, lala chini. No.
There's some wonderful words. There are words that I liked, like mupenzi, beloved. This is some.
This is polite Kiswahili. How I wish
Yes.
people understand this. But now, what we are trying to do as Chektau, and we are even trying to work with the Ministry of East African Affairs, and even to request it to fund the government to fund the Chektau Uganda in these programs of sensitizing and making Kiswahili popular in Uganda. One of the plans we are planning to start national debating competitions in Kiswahili.
Okay.
The national debating competitions that we request that soon we shall submit our proposal to the ministry so that they can fund and support us in spearheading this program of making national competitive debates from all institutions, that is from higher institutions and lower institutions. Maybe the next point we have on our program as Chektau is because we have members in our group that had already started a newspaper in Kiswahili. I've forgotten the name of that newspaper. But people are trying, they are creative. They're trying to look for means of making Kiswahili beloved. Number 3, music.
Yes.
Music.
Yes.
When you listen to Jose Chameleon's songs, Jamila analia, Toto wake amemu, hizo nyimbo, those songs, they are bringing someone back to life. Bowl and enjoy. Maisha mafupi ni simple. Yani nini tesekero. You feel that music is bringing back Swahili in life.
I enjoy the East African anthem.
East African anthem. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki.
What does that mean? What does those lines mean?
Those lines mean, God, may you protect our mighty East African community.
Wow.
So there is that love we are trying to put in these people. That is what I've told. Music, people should understand that music is good. People are now coming into. We have a program also to start comedies in Kiswahili.
So John Paul, you talked about when we were in a break. You talked about how the ministry is incorporating this in their curriculums and to become Swahili to become examinable. Are they going to come from the grassroots, like in primary, or it's going to begin in upper? Or lower secondary?
Apparently, the program was the first initiative that the ministry did, or the government of Uganda did to promote Kiswahili, is through NCDC, that is National Curriculum Development Center, whereby they made it compulsory at Senior 1 and Senior 2. That was a very great step taken for the Swahili fraternity and the Swahili community in Uganda. That was the first step. And maybe number 2, what they are planning to do, we are planning, because that is we are trying to convince and even submitting papers, proposals to the ministry, to government, to start this language from P4. Because the initiative, I remember one time, Honorable Minister Chris Baryomunsi said that our plan is to make Kiswahili spoken and start from primary 4. So as that program, as Minister said, if we started from primary 4, or primary 2 there after these learners have accessed their native languages, then that would be a very good initiative, and it would be very good to promote Kiswahili, because the moment you start from lower foundation, from the foundational level, so it becomes very good. Learners, students come up, grow up when they know the language. By the time of Senior 1, where we are starting from teaching the ba, cha, those ones, these people will be already having the language, so it will be very easy. They will go out when they are knowing Swahili. But then, when it keeps on Senior 1 and 2, there is an aspect that these people, they can even drop it in Senior 3. And then they don't, and of course in 2 years, given the period you teach these learners, they might not have mastered the language. So they need a lot of time. So in that matter, therefore, we have been trying and convincing, sending our proposals to government, to the ministry, so that they can try to bring this Kiswahili back to primary 4, maybe, and also examinable at P7, so that children, those pupils, should understand Kiswahili from primary. Then when you go to secondary, it will just be all cover. That's what we are planning to do, and we think and we believe through the steps we have, where Kiswahili has come from and what the ministry is doing, we are going to reach to what we are planning to get.
Apparently, there is a bill, the National Kiswahili Council Bill 2023, and as per now, the Speaker, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, and Anita Mong pushed or referred the bill to the Committee on Gender, Labour and Social Development for scrutiny. For the report is expected within the next 45 days. So this thing's going to be now. The bill, of course, the bill seeks to operationalize the Article 6.2 of the Constitution of Uganda and Protocol on the establishment of the Constitution and Protocol on the East African Community Kiswahili Commission, which says that this Article 6.2 says that subject to clause of this article, any other language may be used as a medium of instruction in schools or other education institutions or for legislative administration or judicial purposes as may be prescribed. So the council proposed by the bill will also coordinate the usage of Kiswahili language in administrative, judiciary, legislative processes and a medium of communication by local government. Also, the language will also be promoted at all levels of society, including as a medium of instruction in countries' education institution. The bill also, among others provision, seeks to establish the Secretariat of the Council to be headed by an executive secretary, provide for funds and auditing at the council. There are so many things that are entailed in this bill, and I'm telling you, Kiswahili, I think this time is here.
It is here.
Are you excited about that?
We are very excited about this, and we are very happy as stakeholders, as Kiswahili teachers, as scholars. We are very happy with the government, the initiative, the plan, even the bill that is passed. We are very happy for that. And in that line, we want to thank the Minister of East African Affairs in Uganda, that is Right Honourable Rebecca Aditwala Kadaga. She has fought the battle, and finally Kiswahili is here to stay.
And now, John Paul, the person who's watching, keep looking at the camera and encourage them why they need to learn Kiswahili on the languages they know. They could be having their own dialect. They could be having, I've learned some English, but why should they incorporate this Kiswahili? The person who has just joined in, they want to know why they should learn Kiswahili. These are some of the advantages.
Among the importances of Kiswahili, of course, there are very many. I think I need to mention just one. You are supposed to learn Kiswahili because it is a language of business. That is one. Number two, you are supposed to learn Kiswahili because Kiswahili is language that is spoken by the biggest number of people in the whole of Africa, whereby you also fall or belong. Maybe number three, we are supposed to learn Kiswahili because now we are in the integration of East Africa. We are supposed to learn Kiswahili because we want to integrate, want to be one, want to be East Africa. So in that line, when people have not identified the importance of East African integration, but as I look now, I see the integration is bringing benefits to people. We have East African passports.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? We have East African passports. At the end of it all, we have free trade in East Africa. You have to take your business. You have to go and export. These all taxes and what that they impose on you, they will just reduce. And then you have your business grow. People develop because of the language. So in that matter, I would tell you that it is the right time you adopt and love Kiswahili for purposes of benefiting from it.
And you see, John Paul, something I'm seeing here, the other advantage that people are now beginning to explore beyond borders. Tomorrow you might find yourself working as a doctor in East Africa, in Kenya, maybe in Tanzania. Bethany TV is a health TV. Tomorrow you might find yourself as a journalist going to work in journalism, doing journalism in Tanzania or in Kenya, or maybe in Rwanda, probably in any other East African country, maybe in Congo. So I think that there's so many advantages for that. People should embrace it with open heart.
That's true.
Wow. Yes, you are still talking some of the advantages.
I was still talking about the advantages of this language. And maybe another point is, because I talked of I want to bring this one to a layman's understanding, to us common people. Sincerely speaking, the moment I joined Kampala, when I came to Kampala, I was forced to learn Luganda. Nobody forced me, but I found myself in an environment where I cannot speak any other language minus Luganda.
You wouldn't speak your dialect?
I would not speak my language, my mother language, because I am in an environment where these people are speaking Luganda. So in this line, I want you to imagine, you who is watching Bethany TV, we are a small state, and we are like an island, and the surrounding waters are speaking Kiswahili. Let me just bring it in that aspect. How are we going to survive just in that kind of understanding, in a layman's understanding? Osobola otyo okubeera makati w'ennyanja nga wano gwoli island kizinga ng'abakuliraanye mazzi sawa yonna mazzi gakuyingirira. So that is Kiswahili. Kiswahili is water, and as Uganda we are an island. Kati kiba kitegeeza, that means that Ugandans, we are supposed to embrace Kiswahili, because there is no how you quit it, because I need to speak it. My neighbors are speaking it. Africa is buying it. South Africa, they are teaching it. The USA, they have started teaching it in universities. So who are we? They are even buying our language. African language, Kiswahili, is being taught in USA, in Europe, in whatever, because they know when they come to Africa, they have to speak Swahili. Actually, for matters of clarity, gentle people, when you are abroad, when you're in USA, when you are in Europe, whatever, where you are, when you talk about Africa, just Africa as a continent, one, black people, two, Swahili people. That's what you can research about it in your free time and find out. If you are abroad, outside, you are an African. Black people, two, Swahili people. Who are we?
Now, let me ask John Paul, who are we indeed? How long does it take someone to learn something for the first elementary? I can be able to ask, my name is Chintu. Could you please help me with something? Where is the road that leads to here? For how long does that take? The elementary lessons.
If you get a good teacher,
like John Paul,
I don't know whether I'm good, but if you get a good teacher,
yes,
I don't want to praise myself. If you get a good teacher, you can learn that one, just direction, just in 20 minutes, or even 15. Just directing someone. Jina langu ni Chintu, ninatoka Kampala, ninaishi Mulago, mama yangu anaitwa this one. So ile barabara inaenda Kampala, ile barabara inaenda Jinja.
Okay.
Very simple if you get a good teacher.
So this Swahili you're speaking, is it Ugandan, is it Kenyan, is it Tanzanian?
That is why I want to inform the public, to tell the people that in Uganda we are teaching standard Kiswahili. People don't, I don't know whether when I talk about dialects, people will understand it. Kiswahili has different dialects.
Okay.
I don't want to mention them. They're like 15 and even above. But the dialect we are teaching all East African schools, we call it Lahaja ya Kiunguja. That is the Zanzibar dialect of Kiswahili. We call it standard Kiswahili. Wow. It was passed. So that is what we are teaching. So when it comes to us who learned Kiswahili in class, sisi tulijifunza darasani. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaongea Kiswahili sanifu. We learned from class, so we are speaking standard Kiswahili. But when you go to Chikubo down, you will communicate with someone, but with grammatical errors. But of course our intention is communication. Our intention is communication, for as long as I understand the information you are trying to tell me. So I want to based on that point and tell people that people will ask you, is that Swahili speaking a Tanzanian Kiswahili? Is it a Kenyan Kiswahili? Is gentle people. The dialects, even English itself, people have different dialects of English. Even when it is your mother language, people have so you'll find now people are having different dialects of that very same language. Yes. But the message keeps the same. So when you ask me that, John Paul, are you speaking Swahili for Tanzania? me, I will not answer you. I will just tell you that Kiswahili has many dialects. The dialects we are teaching and we are embracing and we are teaching everywhere in East Africa is the standard dialect, that is the Zanzibar dialect, the lahaja ya Kiunguja. Kwa hivyo, Ugandans should understand that there is no Swahili of Kenya, there is no, they just change the dialects in that very, very language.
So, how many, do I need a year to be fluent? Or 6 months, or
depending on the time you have invested in to learn the language.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on the time, because the moment you, for example, you have less time, like our cabinet, they meet them on Monday. So, you know, it is something short. So they have to pole ndio mwendo. Pole. They just learn through. Sorry. But now, I want to answer. How long would it take for me to learn Swahili and be fluent?
Yes.
If you are attending classes and you have interest, because what matters also interest, you can learn this Swahili language and be fluent just in 1 year.
Okay.
In 1 year, you can just be fluent in Kiswahili and speak it. So, gentle people, that's what I can tell you about dialects.
Okay. Can I teach myself Swahili? Are there self-lessons that I can have personally, or maybe on phone, or?
Yeah, even when you go on phone, even when you type here, you can have your personal dictionary. There are dictionary for phrases, where you have a phrase, you type in a phrase you want to speak. My name is called, the phrase will bring. The phone will bring, or the computer will bring, and then you see how do you say, jina langu ni. So in that line, you keep and you teach yourself Kiswahili. People, there are some who have taught themselves Kiswahili.
John Paul, in this camera, what will be your parting shots, especially on why Ugandans need to embrace Kiswahili language?
Fellow Ugandans, once again, my name is John Paul Rigmaho, and in this line, I'm here on Bethany TV. I am trying to inform Ugandans, to tell them that we should embrace Kiswahili, love Kiswahili, do in all means to make sure that we start speaking Kiswahili. It is our language. It is a language of unity. It has come to unite all of us, no tribalistic affiliations. It is a language spoken by many people here in Africa and even in East Africa. It is a language where you need to do business very well, fluently and okay, and you benefit from it. So there is no way how you quit and you don't want to learn the language. So gentle people, can we please embrace Kiswahili, love it, move with it. Let's embrace government programs. Teaching the informal sector is also coming on our way. So let's welcome the language, love it, we go there.
I give you 10 seconds. Communicate that in Swahili.
Ndugu zangu wananchi wa Uganda, tena mimi ni mwalimu John Paul Rigumao, mdau wa Kiswahili, mpenzi wa Kiswahili. Nimekuja hapa Bethany TV kuambia na kuwasihi kwamba Kiswahili ni lugha yetu, ni Kiswahili lugha ya Afrika, Kiswahili lugha ya Afrika Mashariki, ni lugha yenye inazungumziwa na watu wengi sana Afrika kote. Tunastahili kuipenda, tuithamini, tuifanyisha biashara, tuende nchi zote za Afrika, tukihudumia, tukipenda, tukiongea, tukifanya kila shughuli yote ile ili kuweza kufika lengo letu la maendeleo. Asanteni sana, ni mimi John Paul Rigumao.
How if you wanted to tell them to watch Bethany TV in Swahili?
Jamani, tunawaomba tuendelee kutazama Bethany TV, TV ya afya, inapenda afya, Health TV. Tunawaomba, tunawasihi tuendelee kulitazama, imekipenda Kiswahili na wewe ipende.
Sasa jina langu Chintu Mutesa Sirasinia. Thanks for watching. In the meantime, take care of you and take care of your country.
Focus on healthy morning. Bethany TV for health.